You are watching the number one podcast in the whole YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juan.
And I'm your other host, Jean Paul Leek.
And together we are Road Break. How's every single one of you today? Another day of isolation. We've been saying this for the past 2 months. Let's hope that things are still. It seems that they're getting better. I feel that a few states are opening up, so it seems that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Don't you think, Mr. Leek?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't maybe say things are getting better, but at least things are maybe going to start going back to normal. You still got to be cautious even with things opening up. Don't be running out willy-nilly, licking every telephone pole or something like that. No, you still got to wear the mask, be smart. But at least, things are kind of getting a little more back to normal.
Exactly.
And with getting back to normal, normally, like we say, Wednesday night's the night for wrestling. AEW Dynamite was good. NXT was also a very good show, so those are getting back to normal as well.
Yep, it was actually a really great show, NXT, and that's why we're here for. We're going to be talking about NXT. Yesterday we did AEW Dynamite. Don't forget to check that video out. Good stuff with the semifinals of the TNT tournament. Lars Archer and Cody Rhodes are going to be in the final. That video is right there for you guys to watch. And thank you so very much to every single one that is subscribing, every single person that watches our videos and all of our content. So Jean-Paul Eck, let's talk about NXT. NXT started out with Tom Phillips. He's in the building, but we also got to hear Beth Phoenix and Mauro Ranallo. We already put it in our website that if they were not in the building, but at least they were able to put their voices, thanks to things like this, like Zoom or any other app. I will say that they will just record their voices over it, so it sounded even better. Because finally, Ronaldo, Beth Phoenix, they had a better vibe to NXT.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going off in the beginning. When it's things kind of feel back to normal. We had a good episode of NXT. You had the familiar voices. Tom Phillips interjecting now and again to me didn't really hurt the show. I feel sometimes when he calls the whole thing, it suffers a little bit, but I didn't mind him in that role, kind of just interjecting a couple comments here and there throughout the show. But, like you said, the commentary team was there because this was a pre-taped show, so they could go back and, just, okay, let's watch it, commentate on it and stuff and sync the audio up. But it was, it was really good hearing them again.
It was a really great show. So, it started out with, the Cruiserweight tournament, something that we've been pumping up, and, they keep delivering because every single guy that is featured in this tournament is actually receiving great pushes. I will say just for the quality of the matches and also the type of the wins, because everybody's getting a little bit of everything. It's not just one person is just being jabbed out to everybody else. And it started out with Isaiah Swerve Scott going against El Hijo del Fantasma. So tell me a little bit about this match, Mr. Leek. Did you enjoy it? It was good for you?
Yeah, I thought this was really good. Like I said, my pick for this whole tournament is Kushida. I still think Kushida should win, and then there's the emotional story with Drake Maverick. But all these guys, like you said, they all kind of have a story. They all have a place in this tournament, and these two guys I'm really high on as well, Swerve Scott and Phantasmo. And I was, Phantasmo was a sleeper pick for me to win the whole thing. But it's hey, Swerve Scott has been, I would say, almost one of the pioneers of the new NXT cruiserweights. When they said, we're kind of putting them on NXT, he was really one of the first guys who it was hey, he's here now. He's going to be leading this charge. So he deserves, more than anybody, I think, to be NXT cruiserweight champion. So for him to get a win in this match, it kind of shocked me, but at the same time, I wasn't too upset because I like how nobody's really running away with this tournament.
Yeah.
It's not like anybody's 2-0 and everyone else is kind of, falling behind. Everybody's 1-1, or, unfortunately, some people are 0-2, but, like I said, nobody's really, stealing the show here. It's kind of it's still pretty much anybody's game.
Yeah, and also and the good thing about a tournament, you have a lot of things that you could do. Like you said, a lot of outcomes, and everybody's just getting a little piece of the pie. So we'll say, you said, mentioning how there's 1-1, 1-0, well 2-0. We'll go over that. But see, Isaiah Swerve Scott surprises everybody because Hijo del Fantasma had a really good showing last week, and we were all thinking he might be the pick. Just because he's new, he represents the Hispanic culture and the lucha libre style. But in this situation, Isaiah Swerve Scott posed the I don't want to say upset, but he just won.
Yeah, I would say both these guys were even. And the one thing I really like about the tournament is after the matches, so many of these guys, unless they're like a really like a heel character, almost kind of like how Tony Nese is, and you could say a little bit like Jack Gallagher. Funny that those are the guys who are winless,
Mhm.
but everyone else kind of has respect for each other. Like even
Yes.
after this match, Scott said, I've known him before. Talking about Phantasmo, I've known him before NXT. I respect the hell out of him, but hey, this is Swerve's house. And again, we'll get to this afterwards, but I like how we actually got to hear Swerve talk, and
Yeah.
now you can get more emotionally attached to him. But this match was really good. Phantasma tried to use the lucha libre, the hurricane ranas, the head scissors, all the fancy footwork. Swerve Scott, he was right there with him, keeping up. So this match to me was really good, entertaining. And when you got the exchange of roll-ups and stuff to kind of end this thing, like you said, it doesn't make Phantasma. It's not really a surprise because it's like, or like bad booking in the sense where Phantasmo looks weak because Swerve Scott, like it's a roll-up, so it's kind of like, caught him by
It could have been
surprise.
for either
Yeah.
or. Yes, it could have been for either or. So good stuff, like you said. I agree with you. So like, let's go to always like the ending, the ending sequences of the match. So Scott goes to dive onto Phantasma, but Phantasma gets back in the ring. Who again? Then he hits a tope onto Scott. Back in the ring, Phantasma goes over for the Phantom Drive, but then Scott avoids it and rolls up Phantasma into the crucifix spin, covering for the 1-2-3. Like you said, like extremely great match, and see like it's changing. Like roll-ups is the best way to do the 50-50 booking. Phantasma doesn't look like an idiot, doesn't look like weak, but he
Mm-hmm.
gets a loss. But hey, Isaiah Swerve Scott was the better man just in this match, and like
Yeah,
you said,
and
he got that nice promo that is good for him, right?
yeah, definitely. Like I said, he cut that promo and he's just saying like, "Hey, this is Swerve's house. He's gonna prove it to everybody." But it wasn't just the generic like, "Oh, like let me just say my catchphrase and move on." No, like this is all real heartfelt. Like I said, he's like, "I've known Phantasmo before this. I respect the hell out of him, but hey, this is about me. This is my time to shine. I'm gonna prove that I'm worthy, be the cruiserweight champion." Really good stuff. And to me, with all this stuff going on with these masked men abducting the luchadors, and they tried now twice to get Phantasmo, and I feel like since they didn't, that's kind of the story for him. Like you can tell, it's like, okay, yeah, you're in this cruiserweight tournament, you're legit, but your main story is going to be maybe taking down these masked men. Because now they
Yeah.
tried twice to abduct him, so maybe if they try a third time, he's going to beat them up and be like, hey, what's this all about? Who's your leader? Why are you guys trying to abduct me? And then that's his storyline. So then he'll branch off into that because I really don't see him winning this tournament. I see like this is just a way to introduce him to the NXT universe. And then after that, like I said, they'll move him onto this storyline.
It could be, yeah. This storyline especially benefits him because it benefits all the Mexicans. Also, Raul Mendoza is there. Like, there's like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like, there's a situation going on that like we just see glimpses of it. So once we see more of what could happen, maybe Phantasma, like you said, that will be his main role for the now. Because also,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, once he learns the ropes a little better, but he didn't look weak. He didn't look bad. So
No.
that was an extremely great opening for the show. So we're also going to get tonight. Adam Cole is going to address the proposed title match between himself and the Velveteen Dream, following Cole's like getting a pinfall by the Dream. So like we're going to see that. But before we see that, Candice LeRae is going to be fighting, and then she's going to be showing her new attitude and like the Johnny Gargano's way. So we're going
Mm-hmm.
to see that. So before that, we got a video package from Dominic Dijakovic. He's back in the NXT, and he's pretty much saying his thoughts on Johnny Gargano. He says that Gargano doesn't respect anyone, so he challenges Gargano to a match on NXT TV next week.
Yeah, and this is really good. Again, same thing with Scott. I'm going to say about Dijakovic. We're finally seeing, and we've seen it before a little bit, but now we're seeing who Dijakovic is the person. He's talking, he's getting himself over with his personality and his words rather than just in the ring. And, he said, I was raised to always respect the people that laid the groundwork, that built you up. He's like, Johnny doesn't respect those people. Maybe I can teach him respect by, he's like, maybe a guy who's literally twice his size can teach him some respect.
Yeah,
So
so
they're going to have
we're
this
seeing new
match next week.
rivalries. We're seeing new
And
rivalries.
I want to get your opinion on this match. To me, it's hard to say. You don't want Johnny to lose after just beating Tommaso Ciampa and a heel turn. So you think the clear winner is Johnny. But I'd almost want to see Dijakovic win. And maybe that's just because I like Dijakovic as a face. And whenever I like a heel, like you kind of want to see him lose. So if Johnny wins, it'll be like I hate you, Johnny, and then it'll want me to see him lose even more next time we see him, which is the sign of a good booking for a heel. So it's tough to say because if Dijakovic loses, then kind of where does he go? Unless you do a feud that's longer than one match.
Yeah, like I will say that it's probably gonna be a feud longer. They're gonna keep running with this. It's just because like Johnny just is he beat Champa and he's just debuting this new gimmick, so he needs to win.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100% sure he's gonna get the win just because of like this whole new gimmick with Candice alongside. So like don't be surprised if Candice shows up and helps him out.
Yeah, that's the way I would do it. Now that you say that, like she's got to come in, he's got to get ready for Feast Your Eyes, and she kicks him in the family jewels and done.
Or like she distracts and then Gargano does the Gargano escape and then he wins. But like it seems to me that's going to be the feud now. That's going to be these two are going to be mixed in a feud because Ciampa is already with Killian or Killer Cross, so they're going to be with their own feud. So like I see Johnny staying with Dijakovic for the time being, just so like you get the gimmick over. And
I do like how and then we move. I do like when he said he's like, oh yeah, Johnny, you don't respect the people who've booked you in like 46,000 straight NXT takeovers.
Yeah,
I like how he's like, yeah, you're in pretty much every takeover ever. So
yeah, and he's like pretty well. Also, you could say, hey, Gargano is like the guy that made NXT, also like what it is. So Ciampa and Gargano are the pretty much the cornerstones. Without the Gargano and Ciampa, like NXT will not be where it is. I will go ahead and say that.
Oh yeah, and the one thing I will say on that is if you would have kept guys like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, if they would have stayed in NXT as long as Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano did, they'd be the same thing. It's just it's only because they didn't get called up. I'm not taking nothing away from their talent, but it's only because they were in NXT for how many years? 4 or 5 years now. That's the reason why they're the cornerstones. All these other guys were only there for a year and a half and then got called up.
Also, though, like they don't want to be called up.
Yeah.
Because Gargano
because they see the Finn Balor's, the Kevin Owens, the Samoa Joes, and they're like...
they're smart enough to not go in that and then just rather stay there. And it's like, hey, do whatever you want with me. Put me with Dijakovic. Keep throwing me, keep being like Attitude Era build. It's like I go through like a bunch of guys. So, like, we go through, like, Candice LeRae, and then alongside Johnny Gargano, I guess Casey Catanzaro. So, Candice debuted new whole different makeup, the same makeup that she had in the segment that they had last week. New music, like, she's all, like, Attitude is dark. Reminds me a little bit of, like, Harley Quinn, but a lot darker. Like, the lipstick is dark, like, her whole attitude, she walks slow. Johnny comes out. Johnny was pumping her up the whole time. My wife. What else did he say? Like something.
Yeah, he's like, something like, the best kick in the business. And then he's like, it's the #1 birth control. And then at first I was like, what does he mean? I'm like, oh, when she kicked him in the balls, like it's birth control like that. Okay, I'm like that. Yeah, see, that's like funny. So good stuff here. I really like the new theme music. I mean, I like remember what Candice's other like her babyface music was, but it was just kind of really like poppy, really like
similar to Gargano.
And like this new heel, like as soon as this new music hit, it's like like your ears kind of go because it's like it's something different and it's cool. And I'm really about this heel turn, and I think that this heel turn is because some people were complaining, Gargano turned heel a little while ago, then he turned face, now he's heel again. But I think that last heel run was kind of like, if I'm going to just say it in a word, bullshit. I think this one's going to be better. He's with his wife, and I feel like this is going to be a long-term heel run. It's not going to be like, 2 months and then I'm babyface.
And that's what he needs to be for the now, like he doesn't have to be the babyface anymore. There's plenty of baby faces there. You have Kid Lee, even have The Dream, and you have more people coming that like you could easily build as a believable baby face. You don't need Gargano in that role anymore. And like I said, Candice is pretty much Poison Pixie. That's her new gimmick or her new name. So the match with Catanzaro was pretty much one-sided. It was Candice all the whole match. And LeRae, like, she was furious, and she's punishing Casey, and she punches and strikes not the same aerial Candice, like that's the topes, like that. No, very more stiff, like you said, intensity. I know you like that. So then she stamps Casey's face down with a new finishing move, the Wicked Stepsister. So that's like the new finisher. See, like everything, like you mentioned, is like a new Candice LeRae. New music, new gimmick, new finisher. You're holding the whole 180. You're turning
and
around
that shows,
the way you do.
that just shows how talented she is, where you can like do a whole new moveset.
Yes.
where
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I can debut, like, it's not like the same moves, and the only thing I changed is my outfit and the finisher. No, she almost does a whole different move set. So that just shows how talented she is, and I think she's going to be the real star of this kind of heel turn combo for the two of them.
And I see it's nice because you can the one will help the other, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like pretty much what anybody that has a spouse wants from the spouse, right?
Yeah.
You want your wife to be there with you all the time, and then she helps you to accomplish things, and you do the same for her. It
Mm-hmm.
reminds me a little bit of what Triple H and Stephanie were at some point during the Attitude Era. They were both champs, and it makes total sense. So I really, really am down for this gimmick, especially when the one thing will have to happen is Adam Cole will have to drop the title to somebody that is a face, so then Johnny can step in. But like it will be interesting where like the events where they take us, so we can end up in that kind of feud, and then Candice help him out, and maybe as she could be the one that dethrones Charlotte Flair. She
Yeah,
could be the one.
maybe.
Doing with this kind of gimmick is more believable that she will. So in the end, Candice actually after the match, like she starts like keeps hitting on Karen Arrow. She came back in the ring and then she put the Gargano's cape. And like you could see that different attitude. I'm really loving that, and I know you're liking that. Why? Because it's the whole thing. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just like, hey, I just changed my hair color and then yeah, yeah, I'm good. No, it's like you make me believe that you just
Mm-hmm.
became somebody
Oh,
evil.
it's the same. It's completely the same thing they did with Io Shirai. I mean, she
Yes,
still kind of does the same moves, but it's a complete new look, new attitude, new theme music. You know what I mean? So it's like that's how you got to turn somebody heel. It can't just be like, oh, I still look the same, but And same thing with Bailey. You got to change up the whole look and everything. They can't just be like, oh, I went from being smiley to now being a bitch. No, you
yes.
got to really change up the whole gimmick.
And that's when you believe it. So
Mm-hmm.
now we went to like a very quick, like they repeated the same promo from Damian Priest and Keith Lee just hyping up for their match they will have in the main event. And this is the part where you pop. This is the part where you absolutely excel because it's Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. They come out to the ring and then they're both being announced as like the new or the NXT Tag Team Champions, of course. And then Riddle is wearing both belts. So like
Mm-hmm.
Riddle is actually wearing a suit, looking really nice, like looking a special bro. He's ready to bro
Yep.
act. So like Riddle says that he and Timothy are just as much as a tag team as he and Pete Dunne were, but Matt Riddle says that tonight they are going to prove that they know each other with the first ever episode of the newly The Bro Show. So like John Paul is like, ooh,
Yeah, I love it. He's like the bro show. Like the flip flops go flying, the
yep,
lights and everything come up, and you see it's almost kind of like a dating show, almost like the shows back in the
like the
day. Like,
gaming shows,
yeah,
yes, like
yeah,
the
yeah.
gaming shows back in the day, and of course we get like a host, and that was Byron Saxton. It wasn't John Paul or me, no host on there. But I see Byron Saxton is great, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, welcome to the Bro Show. And then Byron acts like an over-the-top host, like I said to you, and then they go for like questions, and they go like, how much do you know from your partner? That was pretty much the gimmick. And the
Mm.
first question was like, what did Matt get for breakfast? And then you walk me through.
Yeah, then Thatcher was like, "Well, how the heck am I supposed to know what he had for breakfast?" He's like, "I don't know." And then but Matt had like a whiteboard, a little one. He's like writing down what he had for breakfast, and then he flips it and he says, "I don't know what I had for breakfast." And then he's like, "Hey, the wife bakes." And he's like, I wake and the wife bakes. So he's like,
She's
I
a
don't
pretty
know what I
good
had for
cook, so
breakfast,
you know.
bro. And he's like, And then Saxon's like, oh, because he sees that Riddle's, he's has his head in the clouds or whatever, you want to use. So he was like, good thing you're not in your wrestling gear. Good thing you don't have to wrestle tonight. And he's like, yeah,
Yep,
bro.
pretty much. And then like he goes to like he has about Netflix. He's like, what
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
do?
He
You
was
ever
like, so
chill with Netflix?
yeah, because he's like, oh, during all this time and this and that, he's like, do you ever have any Netflix and chill and stuff like that? And Thatcher's like, I don't need Netflix to chill. And
And
then
then
Pete Dunne is like, that's a stallion right there, bro. And I was dying. Like, to me, like I said to Juan, this, like, again, this is supposed to be in the same vein as like the Bubbly Bunch. This is just, hey, let's insert something really funny here, make the people laugh. Because humor in wrestling, some people might not like it, but sometimes it does go hand in hand. So, but this to me, I enjoyed this more. Maybe this is just my sense of humor more, but I like this segment a lot more. And so that's just my little opinion on it. I think this
yeah,
is the kind of stuff that I feel like resonates with this audience more than maybe like the Bubbly Bunch.
To me, it's just because Riddle is a lot younger. So
Yeah.
younger, like Jericho, like we can say is good. But see,
Hmm.
Jericho, I will feel if Jericho is by himself, he's able to pull it off better. But he needs to rely. He relies on all of these characters of the inner circle. That to me, they're killing the momentum. So
Yeah.
Santana and Ortiz not funny. Spanish got something about overexposed. He
Hmm.
Riddle is the main focus of the joke. Is like, hey, Thatcher, you just respond to this. I do the
Yeah,
work.
and I guess too, because like what you said is where Thatcher is completely like dry. He's not trying to be funny. He's being 100% serious, as we're gonna get into his next answer. But Matt Riddle is like he's serious, ding ding ding, when the bell rings. But until then, bro.
And that's what I mean. It's just like you need for Riddle. It's just easier because it's just he's the
Yeah.
focal point of the joke, and
Hmm.
he does it well. So also he got Thatcher got the question: what's the craziest place that you have ever done it?
Yeah.
And
So then
Thatcher,
obviously this is like done it. They're talking, sex here. It's not like wrestling, but it's also wrestling. So that's why it's like a how you interpret
it
it.
depends how you take it.
Yeah,
It
so
depends on the context.
he was like, oh, one time, something. He's like, oh, he's like in the ring, obviously, and he's like, but there was one time I had a triple threat out of a laundromat, and
Yeah,
then Matt Riddle flips his sign and it's like threesome on a washer, and
yeah.
he's like, that's right, bro, and it's just like the funniest. Like I said, I was dying at this segment. To me, this was so great.
Because see, like, and again, it's a lot easier to pull good humor versus with two people. And see, Riddle is again like he can pull off that. To me, he could easily be a comedian. Why?
Hmm.
Because he just has the gimmick, like the responses, the faces, the gestures, everything just follows along. And Thatcher, like you said, it's just the dryness reminds you of Pete Dunne. He's just like,
Yep.
yeah, he's taking every question seriously, while the other like Riddle is like, hey, boom, like that. So before they can go to speed round, like they're about to go that, but then Imperium guys, like I don't like I said, they might live in the Florida area just because they have them handy
Yeah,
right there.
either that or it could have been something where they flew because, like I said, when this all first started, flights to the UK, like to Britain, were still, they were
They're
still
still a
Orange
thing,
Cassidy,
yeah.
they were still good, and then it was like,
Or like
then they could
it
have
seems
flew
it
over
was
here.
taped too, though. Since it was taped, they could have
Yeah,
just done a few shows in
yeah,
a row.
that's true. But it could also be somewhere they flew over here and they thought, oh, it's legit, we can go back, and then they filmed some NXT episodes, and then it's like, so you got to
Hmm.
stay here,
Yeah,
and then
pretty
they're like,
much.
well, we might as well, challenge for the,
Work, yeah,
the
work.
belt.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like pretty much Fabian Agner and Marcel Bartel, like they attack Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. They got out of Riddle really quick. They get him through the barricade and then they work pretty much on Thatcher and they did their finisher. Really good stuff. And like they show up, they momentum. They just show up,
Mm-hmm.
stand tall, and then so like really good stuff. And I rather this feud than the one with like the new tag team that they have, the Indie Shavars, I think it's
Oh,
called.
the Indu share, yeah,
The Indie
definitely.
Share.
I think they need to get built up. I don't care who the tag team is, unless you're like a living legend or somebody who can still go. Like you're not gonna put a brand new tag team, boom, right in the title scene. They got to work their way up. Like I said, I don't care how monstrous you are. Have them beat other teams in the division.
Yes,
Have them
yes.
beat the Undisputed Era. Have them beat, I don't even know, make up a tag team because you don't have any. You call them all up. But,
Well, like they
do
need, like you
something.
said, more exposure. It's just, and
Mm-hmm.
also like we're more acquainted to what Bartel and Faven can do.
Mm-hmm.
So like we know what they can do. Music is there. They deserve a shot. We would love to see a match like that. It
Yeah,
will
and
just
there's also I mean, maybe not as much, but there's the connection with them. There's three, NXT UK guys in there.
yeah,
Timothy Thatcher, he knows Pete Dunne, obviously, UK. So there's kind of the connection there as well. So
yeah, exactly. So like
it makes sense to have them
I
challenge.
much rather want to see that, just
Mm-hmm.
100%. So Jean Paul, we get Adam Cole, like we said. We said he was going to address the situation because he's backstage and he reasserts that the Dream does not deserve an NXT Championship match, but he will walk in and walked out NXT Champion. So he says that the Dream is over and there is nothing that the Dream can do about that. So we get confirmation next week NXT Championship match. Adam Cole, the longest NXT champion, going against a guy that like we don't know for sure, but likes to send some kind of pics to certain kind of people. Like we don't know about that.
Certain kind of children.
I will, certain kind of people that maybe should not be receiving those things, known as the Velveteen Dream. Where, I feel bad for the guy. Like he deleted all his social media. I'm just telling you because I was trying to.
Velveteen Dream.
So like
Your push
so,
is over.
so the dream is my turning
Velveteen
into a
Dream.
nightmare for him. But hopefully the situation goes better for him.
Yeah,
Because he's
and
a guy
again,
that like.
I'm not saying anything like he did or he didn't. That's WWE's going to do their investigation. People can read what they want on social media. You see people saying, "Oh, he clearly did it. He got hacked, this and that." The way I'm going to know is because next week's a live show. We got a lot of good matches. This is again one of those you could call it a little mini takeover. And if he wins it, then to me, then he's good. If he loses, probably not. But they're like, hey, we got to wrap up the storyline. We can't just cut it off. You got to finish it. So
Exactly. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And depending on the winner, we'll see what the action of WWE will be. So we go right away to like women's match. Mia Yim going against the Queen Charlotte Flair. They had a good match for what it was, a little too short for me. And also, like you said, Charlotte doesn't sell for anybody. And this was also like the case for Mia Yim. But I will say like some of the offense that Mia hit on Charlotte was pretty good.
Oh yeah,
is when she doesn't sell it at all.
Yeah, I really like Mia Yim. I was never one of those Mia Yim detractors. I felt like her problem, and it wasn't even her problem, but the problem she was facing and still kind of faces is that she just gets lost in the shuffle. And her whole time in NXT, she was always talented, but there was women that were just more talented or more
talented, and
or more marketable. When she first started, like it was the Charlottes, Bailey, Sasha, all them were there. And then you get, the new crop of people where it's like, oh, the Asukas, those women, Ember Moon, Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler. Now this new group is probably even more talented than those other groups just for the sheer number of them. So it's like, where does Mia Yim all, fit into this? But I thought this was a really good match. I mean, for a TV match, I don't even think it was for the title. I think
no, non-title match.
So, it was good. But like I said, Charlotte, I'd like to see her maybe be hurt by her opponent's offense a little more instead of like, Mia Yim hits the soul food and all Charlotte can do is, oh.
It's because Almas has been doing the Judas
it must
back
be,
fist. Yeah. So that's the training. He's like, honey, boom, honey, boom, honey, boom. it's like, oh, you fucker. It's like, no. It's like training.
Nope.
Not when you do that. But anyway, like you said, absolutely agree with you. Like the one thing is like, and the word that I'm just gonna love that you just mentioned, and that's the word that I think that like WWE operates based on, marketable. That's the one thing that like WWE does, and maybe other companies, Impact, AEW, New Japan, they don't worry about that in the sense of like, okay, let's just make money out of this person. It's just like, let's more focus on the talent itself.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
definitely
has great talent, but not probably marketable enough.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas other
they
ones,
don't want to market,
not talented,
her
marketable nonetheless.
Her gimmick is like, she's the head baddie in charge. They say she's like a gangster type thing. WWE was never about that. They're never gonna promote like, being a gangster or being from, the ghetto or anything like that. So that's something they're not gonna promote. So that's why I said she's not marketable in the sense where, we're not going to plaster her image and her gimmick all over T-shirts and all over, the sides of the vans and the buses for pay-per-views and this and that. That's going to be Charlotte Flair, women like that. Exactly. But she's still extremely talented, and I hope one day she does get some championship, whether it's on the main roster or NXT, because I think
I can see definitely, like a SmackDown, like an SmackDown championship, because they kind of promote women that are not so promotable on Monday Night Raw, so to say. For example, see Naomi, Tamina has a championship match, so I see room for her in that brand. So Jean Paul, like you said, she didn't sell her finisher move like the move that like she hits the chin.
I think that's her finisher because her signature. It's the soul food, and then the finisher is the protect your neck. But I don't think she actually hit the finisher, which I was happy because I was like, still wasn't a fan of Charlotte, or I'm still not a fan rather of Charlotte. How she kicked out of the Riptide.
Yes,
I thought that was bullshit. I mean, she hit it really early in the match, so that you could say, oh, she was still fresh. She still had enough energy to kick out. But kicking out of somebody's finisher to me just always buries the finisher. And I know it was at WrestleMania, but whatever. So I'm happy she didn't hit her finisher here, because then Mia Yim's finisher I thought would kind of be buried.
Exactly. So just to move on, I will just tell you like very quick. Of course, figure eight. Not even the bridge there. Up, down. So like that's the one thing is like if you want to portray at least your losers a little better, give them a little bit of stamina. So like I'm saying like what 10 seconds? Do you agree with that? 10 seconds at least, oh okay.
Yeah, the only thing I could say with doing that, now this is a shame for everyone else who immediately taps, but I'm hoping that they do something where somebody's in the figure eight and they don't tap out right away, and then it's like, oh my god, like look at all the pain they're going through. And then that would be a way to really build someone up if they're able to defeat Charlotte.
That's what that's the kind of things that like they should use, that will say the drama. They will use like the intensity. They will use like pretty much like, oh my god, the adrenaline. Oh my god, like she's in so much pain and it's not tapping out.
Yeah.
Rather than
you could say, yeah, like, oh, like all these women, they tapped out immediately, like, she's fighting through the pain. Like you said, really tell the story, but
exactly.
We'll see.
Well, we get to see Io Shirai coming out after the match was over because Charlotte won, and then Io's music hit, and then they got to like stare down. Like Charlotte's like, "Oh my god, this crazy psycho! What are you doing here?" And then she said something in Japanese, but in the end, she said, "Next week, you're mine." So next week we get another confirmation. So both main titles on NXT are going to be on the line. Io Shirai challenging Charlotte Flair for the NXT Women's Championship. Good stuff. I'm excited. I hope to God that Io Shirai wins.
Yeah, I was going to say,
give the girl the title.
I'm excited in the sense that I think it'll be a good match, but I'm also extremely nervous for the outcome because, like I said, it's one of those matches where it's like, oh, they got to give it to Io. The only reason they took it off Rhea was because of the travel, work visa, and everything else. Like, they got to give it to Io.
Io to me is like...
But then you think, well, this is WWE, this is Vince McMahon, this is all like, this is Charlotte Flair. Like, they really don't gotta give it to Io because because like I said, it's Charlotte, so it's like Charlotte gets what Charlotte wants. So that's the only scary thing about this.
Hopefully, they made the right decision just to build Io and to build the NXT brand. So we're really rooting for that. But is it going to happen? We're only rooting for that. So we get a video package on Paul really quick, not even 50 seconds. You watch that, you couldn't even see who the hell they were talking about. TikTok is Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. They're going to be on next week. So like automatically for me, I'm going to be tuning in. I'm a big fan of Scarlett Bordeaux. Do I need to mention why? No. So it's already in your face. If you don't,
there's two reasons why.
Well, do I need to mention them? No. So we go to a guy that there's many of reasons that we should like even hype him up. Started out with his music, and even they added a really nice Titantron now image. Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis. The guy, like, his music is so good. It's so, like, it just...
Oh, yeah.
As soon as, like, you hear the music, you're already falling in the story of Dexter Lumis. So, extremely great stuff. And, like, you mentioned it. You were the very first guy that said, this guy, look out for this guy. He has a lot of future. He has a really interesting character. Because people like Dexter Lumis, you don't see in any promotion in the world. So, like, he goes against Shane Thorne. Again, another enhancement match, I will say, because...
Yeah, but to me, though, and it's a shame, because to me, Shane Thorne is extremely good. And they even said, like, the late Harley Race even said, this kid is legit. Talking about Shane Thorne. Like, he's got all the makings to be a great one. He's just the same as Mia Yim, but, not being as used as good as Mia Yim, where it's like he's just lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
There's all these other people who are like, hey, Keith Lee's, Dijakovic's, Johnny Gargano's, Ciampa's, all everybody. You could name them all. They're all ahead of him, and it's like he could be maybe in the cruiserweight tournament. He's not. He could be in all this different stuff, and it's like instead, here he is. He's in a tag team 1 week. He's getting jobbed out to Dexter Lumis the next week. So it's a shame, but like, hey, somebody's got to get their shoulders pinned. If not, there wouldn't be any wrestling.
That's the truth. Absolutely. What do I need to add to that? It's absolutely the truth. And, Lumis is pretty much the guy that they're going to push because you can do so much things with Lumis. You have like these two guys. I don't know how they're going to, give us a Killer Cross. But Killer Cross is like, I will say, a toned-down version of what Dexter Lumis is. Dexter Lumis, you can do so much with this guy. You haven't even heard him talk.
Yeah, to me, and again, I don't know what role they're going to use Scarlett in, but to me, this is a money feud. It could be something where, Killer Cross or Killian or whatever the hell, not Killian Dane, whatever, Karrion Kross. Yeah, I don't know why they just don't call him Killer, but, WWE
You know
anyway.
who asked for the change? Killer
No.
Cross. They were gonna do okay with like Killer, but they were fine. But he has carrion because carrion is an old word for, like I said, for decaying meat, when like
Okay.
decomposed meat.
Oh,
So
that's
now they
pretty cool.
use
That's cool
carrion.
though, because that goes along with the vulture who like eats the meat and stuff. So, okay, well, if they do this feud, you could be somewhere Scarlett tries to, like, woo, and like, the women on the apron trying to distract them like Penelope Ford. But to me, Loomis would be the guy who would just no sell that.
Yeah, Loomis will be
So,
like Jason. Like, oh yeah,
yeah,
like sees a woman and
yeah,
with the sword
exactly.
or whatever, and done.
Yeah, so and she's taking bumps from men, so that could be something you do. He could do that side slam uranagi that he does and on her, and it would be like, oh my god, this guy's insane, and it would be all this different stuff. So that to me is a money feud down the road. You could really do something with that. But Loomis here, I like, to me he's extremely legit, and I just love the character because you don't know what they're doing. He pins Shane Thorne, done. You're like, oh my god, this guy's a monster. But then when the match is over, he's just like cradling him in his arms and almost like petting his head.
Yeah,
Like he almost feels bad for like kicking the hell out of him. So it's like,
it's like
what's
he
going
feels
through
the
his mind?
pain. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like he's that twisted that he's like, I'm sorry what I'm doing to you. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
break you, but I'm the one that is hurt. Is being hurt the most by that. So
Yeah.
like you said, like very good. We don't even know his heel or phrase, but to conclude the match, Loomis hits the Uranagi, his combination Uranagi, and then he hits the Kara Gatame submission, or like very like similar to the Anaconda Vice. That's
Mm-hmm.
what, like, for the ones that don't like to say the Japanese version, I know Jean Paul loves the Japanese versions or the Japanese names of the holds. The Kara Gatame submission, Anaconda Vice, he hits that up. Not even, he didn't tap out. He actually passed out.
Yeah. And
That
this
was
is a
even
nice
great.
change of pace from the instant tap of Mia Yim. It was like Shane Thorne fought it, and I was hoping when he didn't tap right away, I was like, I hope he fights through it to just be like, make him look a little bit strong. It's not like it's like, hey, I'm gonna fight till the very end. I'm not just gonna instantly tap out.
Exactly. So excellent stuff on that. We get two video packages. One's from Casey Catanzaro. She's being checked out for like the paramedics, the medical team in the WWE. Candice just goes by and said, "Well, get used to it." So this is the new attitude for Candice LeRae, and we're gonna see the Prince next week because he's really pissed off because he's gonna be addressing who was the one that attacked him. Last week when he was supposed to face the Dream, and we didn't get that match because supposedly
Mm-hmm.
somebody attacked him. So this show, NXT, is going to be, like you said, I love the word that you use, mini takeover. It's loaded from the top to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be great, great, great action. So
Now
really
I don't.
excited
Now
on
I
that.
don't know what WWE's plans are, and I'm not a fan of hot potatoing a title. But to me, you got to do something where boom, you Velveteen Dream. Hey, I'm sorry, but with all the stuff going on with you, you're out of here. And then I would say you got to go Cole and Balor. Give the title to Finn Balor. And Finn Balor to me is a face. I don't care if he was, Prince Devitt, an asshole, whatever. To me, he's face. He wins it from Cole. Eventually, he drops it to Gargano because then the story for Balor is Balor can go on to Walter.
Yeah.
That's a story down the line. So, boom, he has the title for a month or two. Okay, whatever. Gargano has it because then, like you said, Gargano, then he gets it from a face. Then he's champ. And then Candice can eventually get it. So that's a way that I could see them doing, the power couple storyline.
And that's what we want to see. So absolutely, I can, and I even can tell you who's going to cause the Velveteen Dream the match. Finn Balor. He's the one that's going to cause him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to reveal that the Velveteen Dream was the one that attacked him. I can tell you that. And that's like, if I believe in WWE booking the situation because of what happened with the Velveteen Dream, that's what they're going to do. So, Jean Paul, let's move on to Cruiserweight Championship tournament, and we get the guy that, like, they're playing up the story, like the emotion, the drama, the tears, like they're playing the soap opera in this guy. Drake Maverick goes against the premier athlete Tony Nese. I want to say a good match. Again, like you mentioned, like the Cruiserweights are giving us good matches. But every single member, every single participant is really, really great at what they do. In this case, Drake Maverick gets the win. They keep prolonging the dramatism. They keep promoting like I would say the tears, like the big story, like the feel bad for the guy,
Yeah,
and
because
also like the
he's the
biggest
only one.
comeback.
Yeah, he's saying, I'm the only guy in this tournament who's fighting for his job. Because he's like, if I win, they can't fire me. Like, what are you going to do? Fire your Cruiserweight champion? He's like, no, if I win, I get to keep my job. So he's like, I'm fighting for my whole livelihood. and you saw, I think it was Jake Atlas, I believe his name was, from
Yes.
last week. You
Yep.
know, he said like, "Hey man, I'm really rooting for you." They had a kind of another interaction last week that
And
they
he's like,
showed.
"Thank you, man."
Yeah, so Maverick, he's kind of like, so, but this week, Tony Nese, good match. Tony Nese, to me, the premier athlete. You know, I agree with that nickname, that gimmick, whatever you want to call it. He's super legit. It's just one of those things where you have all these other stories in this tournament. Where does Tony Nese kind of fall on the totem pole? He kind of settling more on the bottom than on the top, unfortunately,
Yeah,
for
no,
him.
absolutely. So like, let's go to the last sequences of the match. But like you said, it sucks for Tony Nese because Tony Nese, out of the two, to me, Tony Nese is way much better than,
Oh yeah,
let's say,
and
Maverick.
especially like at WrestleMania, I popped for that title change. I didn't think they were going to do it. I believe it was Buddy Murphy who he beat.
Yes.
Buddy Murphy was on the top of the cruiserweight division. Nobody could touch him. Tony Nese, legit victory, and it's like, oh, okay, this guy, they're going to do something. And then, like Triple Threat loses his belt, and then bullshit since.
And then, yeah, it sucks. But like, let's go with Maverick because he goes up to the top rope and goes for an elbow drop, and Nese rolls out in the way down. Then Nese gets to his feet and goes to the top turnbuckle and sets up for the 450 splash. But Maverick crushes Nese, and then he hits a wheelbarrow bulldog on Nese for the top rope, covering Nese for the win. Like you said, like, I really enjoyed the bulldog, but like you said to me, if he keeps winning, he needs to change the finisher. Why?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not a fan. It's just a personal thing. I don't really like that move. To me, a bulldog. I mean, yeah, a bulldog from the top rope is devastating. Do I want to take one right now? No, not really. But I would probably kick out at 2. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think it's that devastating of a move where that's going to be your finisher. I know after a long, grueling match, it's a little different. But I would just like to see something a little more devastating. It reminds me like when Tozawa does the senton.
Yes.
For his finisher. It's like that's your finisher, really? When you have guys kicking out of top rope Spanish flies, that's your finisher?
Or like also like you said, change his music because his music is a little bit like on the bad side. It's like not make me want to see Drake Maverick. You're absolutely agree with you. So of course Maverick gets interview after the match and he says that he isn't leaving yet and Kushida is next. So he says that he isn't leaving until he is the next NXT Cruiserweight Champion. And we had even words from Jordan Devlin, the current Cruiserweight Champion, and he was saying like he respects everybody, but like he sees a lot of effort from Maverick, and like, you could see like everybody's diving into this story. But is he going to win the championship? I don't think so. To me, I don't think so. And I know that you don't want Kushida to be jobbed out to Drake Maverick.
No, and when any of these people lose, like even Tony Nese, yeah, he lost twice in this tournament, but I wouldn't say he got jobbed out. None of these guys are jobbing out. These are all legit matches. Until the last 10 seconds of the match, it could be anybody's ball game, you could say. Any of these guys could win. So nobody's really jobbing out, in my opinion, but I think Kushida still needs to win. Because I think Kushida wins, and then it's like, because like I said, when you have everybody lose, everybody's kind of been losing so far. So even if you suffer 1 or 2 losses, you're kind of still in the hunt here. You're kind of still, you can kind of still make it. So I think if Maverick loses, then maybe he's got to win his last. You got to do something here. So it's tough to say. So like I said, we'll see what they do.
But it's also like you mentioned, like they use this in soccer all the time. So like the groups is always like gives you that hey, I can maybe lose 1 or 2 matches. I don't need to win everything. Maybe if I lose 2 or 3, I still have chances depending on whatever happens in the other
because
matchup.
there's lots of things that like we aren't considering. Who knows, in one of these matches these guys are beating the hell out of each other, and then like they said it in this match with Drake Maverick, and I think they might have said it another one. Oh, they got to be careful that they don't cause a DQ.
Yes.
I mean, a DQ would vote somebody the winner, but I'm saying that there could be a screwy finish where there's a count out. Double count out, what do? Both guys suffer a loss, or is it a tie? How does that affect the brackets? You know what I mean? So there's lots of different things you could play with here. I mean, I know Kushida's not a luchador, but, you could have outside interference attack him. There's lots of different stuff. I was going to say maybe he could get abducted by the masked men, but I don't think they're after Kushida.
You can do a lot of things with it. So we get confirmation, like we mentioned, 3 matches next week, 2 championship matches, like Io Shirai, Charlotte, NXT Women's Championship match, Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, NXT Championship match, and also Dominik Dijakovic challenging the new Johnny Gargano. So, again, really, really, I will say, piled up show. It has a lot
Oh
of it.
yeah, definitely.
Is a fully loaded show.
And again, like we said it on the channel before. It's not just recent allegations. Not the biggest fan of the Velveteen Dream and the ring and everything. The gimmick's legit in ring, whatever. But I'm really looking forward to the women's championship match. And to me, I think the match that's going to steal the show is the Dijakovic and Johnny Gargano.
Yep,
Just the
and
two of
also
them,
like
man.
yep, and to see like the Prince is back, like Scarlett's gonna be back, debuting with Karrion Kross and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
really, really fully loaded show. Jean Paul NXT North American Championship match. Keith Lee defending against Damian Priest. Limitless going against a guy that wants to live forever. So the match, I will say, was pretty decent. And I wouldn't say it was a 5-star classic. I wouldn't even call it a
No.
4-star. 3.5 tops. Was I really invested on this? Not too much. Do I wanted a title change? Yes, I did. I wanted Damian Priest, but the Limitless keeps the title.
Yeah, and to me, like I said, I was at first, leading up to this, I was kind of like souring on Keith Lee, and I'm a Keith Lee mark. I love the guy, and I was like, that's a shame. I don't want to be souring on him, but to me, I think it's because he looked so limitless, you could say, untouchable, where it's like he was just beating people. Oh, okay, Dijakovic, then Cameron Grimes, and it's like, okay, like whatever. But then we get this. Damian Priest made him feel vulnerable. He hit him in the throat. He could barely talk. He sounded like Christian Bale's Batman. Where are they? You could barely understand what he was saying because his larynx was almost crushed, he was saying. So it made Keith Lee feel vulnerable. And when you can make your champion feel vulnerable, feel human, you can get invested in them again where it's like, oh, this guy, hey, maybe I don't want him to lose. I'm worried. And that's kind of like how I was. I was like, as much as I was kind of souring on Keith Lee when this match was really going, I was cheering for him. I wanted him to win. But Damian Priest, man, his time will come. If not North American, definitely NXT champion. He's way too good. The promo work he does, the gimmick. To me, it's completely the opposite. I made the Batman joke. If you want to say that Keith Lee's your superhero, Damian Priest is the perfect arch villain.
Absolutely, like see the way he comes out, the music, like the fire,
I love the music, the arrow,
the flame. When like you see Damian Priest and the flames is like right there in the fire. Oh, it's so good, so good.
And
like
what kind? And normally, like the good guys is like, oh, it's me, my wife, my house, my kids. Smiles, the dogs. The bad guy's the one who's like, I want the money. I want the chicks. I don't care if I have 10 chicks on me because I don't love them. I just want to use them. That's what like he is. He's like all about himself. So he's the perfect heel to go against Keith Lee. And like I said, if there would have been a title change, I wouldn't have been that upset because it's like this guy deserves it. But to see Keith Lee win here, he had, he did 2 spirit bombs, which I thought was really cool because it was like, hey, I'm not doing one and chancing it. I'm putting you away. I know you like the spirit bomb more than the Big Bang Catastrophe. So like, hopefully you like that. I know you said you wanted Priest to win. But to me, I thought this was a pretty legit match. Again, it wasn't no takeover. It wasn't him versus Dijakovic at takeover, but it was still pretty good.
It was pretty good. The one thing, like you said, I really appreciate the 2 spirit bombs. I just want I'm very particular with a lot of things, and I shouldn't be. But like when he did the spirit bomb, and it will be a sit-up power bomb. I liked it a lot better. Now he did just 2 spirit bombs right after the others. It was a double power bomb, something that Jericho used to do in the past, something that Brock Lesnar used to do in the past.
Oh yeah, so I would have rather seen it. Yeah, like he could have hit the one still like standing up, and then the other one he should do
sit up and then go for the pin. That's what I much rather do. The one thing I did not appreciate was like Priest. He hits the Keith Lee hits the comeback, and then he's like, oh, I'm limitless, and then he chops him, and then he does the spirit bombs and done. So I was like, it needed a little bit more like fluid for me, the flow of it. Like the last how they worked out the last sequence wasn't too great for me, but nonetheless, it was a really great match.
Yeah, I mean, if I was gonna book that whole ending sequence, like you said, and even before this too, when they were fighting on the outside, Keith Lee went. I don't know if he just went to pounce or charge. He went head first into the barricade, and I don't think he got his hands up. I think he knocked them barricades out of the way with his own head. So, got to give props to Keith Lee on that. When he threw Priest from like the other side of the barricade back into the ring side, and he threw him and he bounced Priest off the apron. That was legit stuff. So there was some hard hitting going on in this match. And I love how stupid the ref was at the end when Priest goes out. He grabs the nightstick and the title, and he is like the nightstick behind his back. He walks into the ring, and the ref's like, what are you doing? And
And
he's
then
like,
he
oh,
just focused on the title. Yeah.
he's like, he gives him the belt. He's like, well, take the belt out of the ring. And he's like, oh, okay. So then he goes to hand it, and then
And Kid
the
Lee
nightstick
was
out.
able to counter that. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
But like, I agree with what you said. When he went and he caught the nightstick, and he's like, I am limitless. It's like, okay, that's cool, because the only way that he was really able to get the advantage over Lee was attacking him with the nightstick.
Yes.
Sneak attacking. So he got that out of the way. Double slap. And I'm not too big a fan of that kind of move, just like the slaps like that. Looks almost like he's cat scratching his chest. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I would have done it where he does the spirit bomb, whatever you want to call it. And then I would have, send him, or, slap his chest, send him into the ropes, catch him, Big Bang Catastrophe, 1, 2, 3. I just felt like it was kind of slow.
It
It,
was.
did,
It
it
was
didn't
pretty
have,
slow.
it didn't
That was
have
for me. Yeah.
yeah, the ending didn't have Keith Lee's normal boom, 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 really fast, really quick. The Spirit Bomb's always really high impact. Big Bang Catastrophe's high impact. This just felt really slow. Like Keith Lee was really gassed. He was really tired. Like I said, it was a hard match. They were going at 100 miles an hour. It was just that the ending was kind of like,
It wasn't too great for me. I agree with you, but nonetheless, Keith Lee retains the championship, and we didn't see the awakening, so that's good because he protects the finisher. So
yep.
we'll see what happens with Damian Priest. Maybe he keeps lobbying for a match, or maybe he starts going to like the NXT Championship match, the NXT title. That will be good. Now I will enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel too bad, but I know the rivalry can keep going. I know that it's not over yet. So great episode, Jean Paul. I will say NXT is like giving us like regular. They understood. They always go to like maybe like 2 weeks of like, hey, we don't know what we're gonna do. But like once they have those 2 weeks out, then it's like, all right, we know what we need to do. It's like, hey, let's debut this guy, this other guy. We have a lot of people coming in, and now this next show is gonna be fully loaded. Yeah, and we always finish this reviews saying that you can grab whatever you want from NXT because there's a piece for everybody. You want to see like Lucha Libre, there's Fantasma, there's all the Hispanic guys. You want to see kind of storytelling, Gargano, Candice, Karrion Kross, Scarlett are debuting, the Prince is coming back, 2 championship matches. What else do you want?
Yeah, and everything in the mid card. You want a little bit of humor, but also some seriousness. You got, Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher in the tag team division. So there is, like you said, there's something for everybody if on NXT. And that's the one thing, too, with NXT. I feel like you said they might have a week or two where it's not the best show, but they never steer us wrong. I feel like, anytime you watch a movie or you're watching a TV show, there's always going to be a part of the movie or an episode or two where you're like, this is kind of boring. But it's all to set up something that's really exciting.
Exactly. It's like those two, like, let's say like those 10 minutes, like, relax, it's like we got to fill it, but
because, Triple H, he's always booking it long term. You always see stuff like, especially with this main event feud, or this feud that was in the main event tonight, they showed the packages, Keith Lee holding up the belt. You always see Priest looking at it, or like, at the end of their triple thread where he pinned Dijakovic,
Damian Priest.
Priest is on the ramp and he's looking at Keith Lee, staring him down like, you didn't pin me, I can beat you. So you always got to give them the edge for the long-term storytelling. So I feel like they have this planned out these next couple weeks, what they're going to do. And they're going to deliver, and I'm excited.
I'm excited too. So Jean Paul, before we go, where they can find us on the social media world?
Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Original Rope Break, and then Twitter at the OG Rope Break. And like we said, there's some stuff going on. Is Becky Lynch going to be the newest Disney princess? We don't know, but as soon as we do know, you can find it out on, Rope Break. So make sure you follow us right there on all social medias. We got all this news, everything else. And like we said, Beth and Morrow, were they there tonight? Well, if you want to know the truth, you got to follow Rope Break, and then you can see exactly, if they were there, if they were Skyping it in, Zooming it in, whatever you want to call it. It's all right there on social media, so follow us there.
Absolutely. So, Jean Paul, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much to you. There's only one thing left to say, and what is that?